Welcome to Smart Okasan TV, your #1 top channel for the latest updates on Biafra news, things going on in Biafra land, and the hottest trends in entertainment. As you are about to watch this video, try to like, subscribe, comment and share for orders to see.
If you go to the government of Israel's website on their view on the lost tribes of Israel and who's from the house of Israel around the world, you'll notice one of the most common names in that report is the Ebo tribe, the Igbo tribe. And these are about 40 or so million people in Nigeria that self-identify as being Jewish. And now there's 60 Orthodox communities in there who have converted and are practicing Judaism, and the leader of the Igbo people ruling over them is trying to create an independent Jewish state, and they have a whole Jewish revival going there. It's fascinating, and the government of Israel is loving it, and they're supporting it, and Jewish people are making documentaries about it, and it's like the most exciting thing ever, and it's giving people a lot of biblical renewal.
I just had a Lyft driver yesterday telling me about all this, and I was kind of like, all right, what? It's all true. What you're talking about? It's crazy.
So your Lyft driver was Ebo from Nigeria?
I'm so sure that's what he was saying to me. Yeah, all this stuff. He was saying that he said Israel's been supportive.
So anytime I'm in Israel at the Western Wall and I see a Ebo man, I could tell because they're wearing Nigerian outfits, I say, are you Jewish? He's like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, well, bring it in, give me a hug.
No, that's what he said to me. He picked me up at a Jewish community center. He goes, are you Jewish? And I went, yeah. He goes, this place, is this house of worship, or this is what is this place? And I told him what the JC. It's like, it's a community center. They do events. It's about a building community. They do all sorts of. They take people from all races. I said, yeah. He's like, I am from Nigeria. Igbo. He didn't say and when I said Nigerian, he's like, not Nigerian, Igbo. Yeah. Not Nigerian. I am Igbo. I am Jew. And we're trying to do what Israel did. They're supporting us. Then he started going on this whole thing.
Yes, because Nigeria is just a name that the British threw onto the amalgamation of a bunch of different tribes there that destabilized the region and led to a genocide and a Holocaust of the Igbo people. Where in the 1960s, millions of them were systematically killed and murdered. Yeah,
he told me about that too, but I was running late. So
it's so this is so relevant because we have such a never again Holocaust name, but these people had it. But what is mind-boggling to me, which I can't imagine why this is not in the news and not spoken about, is that a large chunk, more than a fourth of the transatlantic slave trade came specifically from this one tribe. So how are we not starting to connect dots and being like, wait a minute, so the tribe in Africa that the government of Israel is fascinated with and enamored by is now the blood of those people flowing through the African American community here, which makes sense to me why they're all being like, we have an Israelite affinity, we're identifying, this is us, we are this. And so I'm like, so yeah, if the DNA of the blood of these people are in them, they have a valid claim to feel and say that. Where it goes wrong then is where spiritual bullies come and hijack that reality into forming cults that create hate and etc. So those are the people I battle. I'm not battling the reality that you could be from the house of Israel, because like I said, the bottle shattered and glass went around the whole world. I'm battling the bullies that are standing in between you and your inheritance, which is the Torah. Because if you really are from the house of Israel, come back towards the Torah. It's perfectly been preserved throughout the exile, which is what guys like Amari Stoudemire did.
Hello, good morning, SM viewers. This is Satellite Media. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Looking at this conversation that we just listened to, of course, from Israeli citizens, talking about the origin of the Igbos, the Biafrans in Nigeria, I think it is now abundantly clear that the Igbos are from Israel, of course, from the lineage of God. Because from the conversation we just listened to, you can clearly see those Israelis acknowledging that if you go to Israeli websites and you are looking for the lost tribe of Israel, the first people that call to mind, or the first tribe you see that is prominent in that website, is Igbos in Nigeria. And from what you can clearly see, though the Igbos are clearly made it very clear that they are Jew, and apart from that, there are so many other proof that points to that fact that the Igbos originated from Israel. And we record that sometime in 2016 or so, had a situation where some Israeli scientists came all the way from Israel to Nigeria to conduct a DNA test. Of course, we understand that their major area of the major area where they did that is Nnewi and some part of Igbo land. So since some Israeli scientists, physicians, coming all the way from Israel to Nigeria to conduct such tests, of course, it's a clear testimony that the Israelites themselves are aware that they have their brothers here. And we have seen so many videos online where Israeli citizens actually acknowledge that the Igbos are from the same tribe with them. And if you even go to come down here in Nigeria, you see so many archaeological facts that point to that fact that actually this is where the Igbos come from. And if you look at the marginalization of the Igbos in Nigeria, you look at the way Nigerian government treat the Igbos, you understand that it is a semblance of what the Jew go through in the hands of those surrounded enemies in the Middle East. Because I understand that naturally, if you have great destiny, it is always surrounded with adversity and all of that. Because if you look at even the scripture, made it very clear where it said, before me is a virtual door are open before me, but before me is adversities. I think God was talking about Ekpa. So this is applicable to anyone that have a great destiny. Of course, we understand that even back in Nigeria, that best explains the reason the Igbos are treated with disdain, are treated with all manner of hatred, are marginalized, are suppressed in all fronts. We are seeing play out in every human endeavor in Nigeria, both in the particularly in the political arena, because, and of course, that gave rise to "We Must Go" that is currently happening in Biafra land, a situation where Anena Kalo, who have risen to the occasion to propagate or rather to demand the freedom of his people, is now in DSS captivity. And again, I think at this point, the government of Nigeria must give priority attention to people who are agitating that they want to go. Because however I look at it, we are seeing serious level of insecurity in the southeastern part of Nigeria. And almost every stakeholder has spoken in that direction that the panacea for peace in that region is to free the man, Nnamdi Kanu. So of course, I'm using this avenue and opportunity to equally admonish federal government to see the freedom of the man, Nnamdi Kanu, because we have seen personalities in Nigeria who have done serious evil to this nation, who the government will use the window of perhaps reintegration of repentant terrorists into the society to let them go. Of course, his regular occurrence is Boko Haram members who often lay down arms according to as government want to make us believe, and they are reintegrated into the society after the de-radicalization process. So if Nnamdi Kanu, who have not been caught with arm, who the only thing he committed is to say, I want my people to go, I want a referendum. And of course, we understand that even here in Nigeria, referendum is entrenched in a UN charter. Of course, self-determination itself is entrenched in a UN charter, which the Nigerian government is a signatory to. So to that extent, if someone is coming through the angle of, I want my own sovereign state through referendum, through self-determination, and the person is doing it within the ambits of the law, without wanton destruction of lives and property, that person have not committed any offense, both locally and internationally. So that is why the government must see to the freedom of the man, Nnamdi Kanu, as a panacea for peace in the region. Though Nnamdi Kanu have maintained, even in captivity, that he is committed to freedom of his people, that is committed to referendum, which of course Nigerian government cannot fault. No government. You have even seen recently how the foreign affairs minister from Russia admonished UN and even countries of the world to going forward to start respecting the issue of self-determination. We understand that once they talk of self-determination, they talk of referendum, globally, the first thing that comes to mind is Biafra. And once they talk of Biafra, of course, the Nnamdi Kanu epitomized that struggle. So the next thing that comes to mind again is Nnamdi Kanu. So, even back here in Nigeria, we are seeing different stakeholders from different perspectives coming and approaching federal government to seek a solution to how Nnamdi Kanu can be released. We saw the lives of Senator Eina Abaribe leading his colleagues from the eastern part of the country, meeting with the Attorney General of Federation to seek the release of Nnamdi Kanu. We're equally seeing the lives of the minority caucus in the House of Representatives across board, across political divide, across geopolitical zone, both in the south, in the southeast, northwest, northeast, southwest, coming together and approaching federal government, admonishing federal government to release the man Nnamdi Kanu. The Nnamdi Kanu himself, going by the court of appeal judgment the other time, have set him free because Kenya government collaborated with Nigerian government to abduct him from Kenya to Nigeria. Of course, the court has ruled that he was extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, as such that the federal government of Nigeria have lost every right to prosecute him and he should be released unconditionally. We are equally seeing UN working group on arbitrary detention of admonishing federal government of Nigeria to release the man Nnamdi Kanu. Though federal government has since appealed that case, and Nnamdi Kanu has made it very clear since Justice Omotosho started handling the case that he will soon get freedom. We hope and believe that the man will get justice, because even Nnamdi Kanu have told the whole world the other time that he's ready to remain in detention until there is an impartial judge to adjudicate his case with federal government of Nigeria. Let us hope that justice will be achieved at the end of the day, and let us hope that the government of Nigeria will have courage, be courageous enough to confront that monster of Nigeria is indefeasible. Nigeria unity cannot be negotiated, whereas in the mind of Nigerians, there is nothing like unity. Nigeria have already divided in the mind of Nigerians. What we have currently is a coercion by the federal government through the coercive power of the federal government. And the Bible says, can two work together except they agree? So if you want Nigerians to work together, you must come through persuasion, through promotion of unity and ideas that can make people work together. We have seen recently how the Igbo youth shun enlistment into Nigerian army, a situation that has since made Nigerian army to be worried, particularly top military brass of Igbo extraction moving from state to state in the southeastern part of the country, admonishing people, particularly the youth, to see reason why they should embrace the military and build career in the military. With all the persuasion and all the strategy of government, I don't think I've needed any result, because in the mind of the average Igbo man, they have resisted Nigeria. Thank you very much. This is
most of you who are young like me, we were born into this system. In this situation, there are only two cases. Either we accept to fight, or we remain slaves forever. I told you once, there are those who are slaves in their minds. They can only serve their master. And those people try every time to manipulate you. You must advise each other. Because every situation can be exploited by these enemies of the nation to try to discourage you, to demotivate you. So, you must advise each other and not pay attention to certain remarks, even on some media. Not everyone is obliged to be patriotic. You are the first patriots. You have decided to defend the homeland. There is nothing better than that. Those who want to support you, let them support you. Those who want to discourage you through writings, you must close your ears and move forward. As for those, we will fight them here. So, we must remember something. Recently, there is a so-called NGO. It's not even an NGO. Because NGO stands for non-governmental organization. They are not non-governmental because they are funded by a federal budget, by a state. This so-called NGO produces reports claiming that the FDS and the VDP commit abuses. It went in here, it came out there. It's to tarnish your morale. It's to scare you, to prevent you from being able to fight. No. Moreover, we are going to file a complaint against this NGO because people need to understand something. What is happening to us here? It's true that they have manipulated part of our populations in the Sahel here, but they didn't have that kind of weaponry. What brought such significant weaponry into their ranks? It's Libya. Who destroyed Libya? It's this NGO, the same NGO that made false reports and gave them to those who wanted to create a rebellion so that people would intervene and overthrow Gaddafi. And the powder keg ended up being poured into the Sahel. These millions of lives that have been taken in the Sahel, we must file a complaint against this NGO because it is responsible for these false reports it made to support this thesis of attacking Libya. They have no moral lessons to give us. Look at the world. Let them go defend human rights all over the world first before coming here. We are fortunate to have similar situations. In this world, you voluntarily committed yourselves. There are countries where people are forcibly taken, killed. You leave or you die. Others, even while trying to flee, end up dying. They don't talk about human rights because these people see us as subhumans. They see us as slaves. That's how it is in their minds. They have never changed their mindset, but it's up to us to show them that we are not slaves and we will never accept this state of affairs. So don't be fooled by the stories. They tell to anyone who will listen. You must stay focused on your fight. Stay focused. We know what we are doing. And even now, the VTP commander told me that there is a human rights training session underway for group leaders and their deputies. If we make efforts, we know it's for ourselves. We no longer do things to please someone else. We do it for our homeland. And you are committed to that. Defend your homeland. Do not listen to those individuals. They should not affect your morale. In the history of the world, there have been wars. And during the Second World War, people organized themselves to defend all over the place. But there is a country that could not defend itself, which had to come and take our ancestors to go defend them. And today that same country wants to give us lessons. The pot calling the kettle black. No. You are the descendants of those same ancestors who went to defend others, who liberated the world from Nazism. Today you are fighting for your lands. These same individuals dare to create terms to tarnish you. We oppose this. We will never agree. Continue to defend your lands. It is your wealth that interests these people. It's our gold, it's our minerals that interest them. Otherwise, why come and drive out entire villages to seize our lands? So we will fight and we will reclaim our lands, our wealth. It belongs to us. It's for us. It will benefit us and our children. I therefore encourage you to remember that this war is to free us from slavery. It's for our independence. And you must keep your spirits high, stay strong. Never give into manipulators, to those individuals who no longer understand the notion of homeland, or to those people who come from outside to try to subdue us through their terms they invented and their organizations they created to enslave us. Fight, move forward, do everything you can. Draw, as I said, from your cultural resources, from what you have been shaped by since the village. Draw from it and wage this war. Stay focused and stay strong.
Thanks for tuning in to Smart Okason TV show. forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to keep the intellect flowing.